So you are showing the workshop around now? Can you do that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Flip. So that is my little corner, which was meant to be for my ceramics. It was a wet area at the back. There's a tap. I don't use it as one. It's just all my junk is stored there. This is the big machine. I treated myself to. It's a compound miter saw. Love it. Does amazing work for me. These were the first signs. You know, these are like my samples. This is what I started making. Little kids signs. If you can see, it's painted wood with the names routed out. You know, that's it. That's what I started with. And I still keep these as samples for people to come and choose their fonts and their colors. This is a big piece I've just made literally 2 days back. It's a 3x6 tabletop, which I've routed out this design and I've filled with resin. So resin is my next go-to. I love resin.
Yeah.
It's very, very, it's very malleable. It has so much you can do with it. You know, so I'll give you the resin story later. These are just little samples I've been trying what to make. Here's the workshop. I'm giving you from one corner. You can see these cupboards all around and drawers full of stuff. So all my tools normally get stored in the drawers, and overhead is other knickknacks. So all these, the router, the sanders and all go in. All these are pulled out because I was working with them, the chisels. So that's it. That's my workshop. Here are all my little paint samples. Again, I've just put them on these sticks so people can choose their colors, you know, and I love colors. So a lot of color therapy. I just love looking at all these colors.
That is so cool. Very cool, that is. I like the ice cream stick idea. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's very basic. I mean, nothing to it, but it saves me a lot of hassle. So this is my little concrete. I've just started doing a little bit of concrete. That's my little concrete corner. I have taken over so many rooms in this house because I have separate workshops now. So there was a free servants kind of, not servants room, it was like a storage room where my husband wanted to put his stuff, but I've taken that over for my acrylics, and I have one on the rooftop, which is for my resin. Resin has to be dust free. So I cannot do it in this room because it will never be dust free, and you really can't afford any dust in resin. So all the resin casting is on the roof. I'll show you that. It's a tiny workshop. It's where the lift, you know, when your lift goes right on top, there's a room around the lift. It's the lift room. It's a tiny room, but I use that for resin and I have a nice view. So that's it. So that's the workshops.
Yeah, nice.
I'll take you to the other workshop and show you where everything is.
Yeah.
I've got this is, hold on, drop something. This is where all my wood is lying. My little lakkad ka junkyard.
Bazaar hai ye to.
This is my bazaar. My wood guys very sweetly left this machine of theirs for me to use. They said when we need it, we'll take it from here, but it's been lying here for a while and I use it. All the planing and all, it's lovely. This is an old machine of theirs. They said, ma'am, we're not using it right now, so they've left it. And this is my little acrylic workshop, little bit of a display area. This was meant to be my husband's little store, but I whacked it off him. So it's a big space. It's in the basement. These are my two acrylic, and I used to do resin here too, but it was getting too dusty to manage, so I decided to move up. And this is my little display kind of, I've just put these shelves here. So that is reclaimed teak. I got a local carpenter in the, you know, there's a Kabadi Bazaar here in Delhi called Amar Colony, where they have old furniture they sell. Lovely little quaint market, and a gentleman who did teak boards for me. You know, he took old teak from different, I guess, tables and all, and he made these boards. So I did a lot of carving on these and filled them with resin. Here is some of the acrylics. Then I tried, you know, transferring vintage prints onto wood, where you can see through that. It's very nice results. I was quite happy. This is again the reclaimed wood of, you know, the palette wood with resin fill. And that's the original stuff I was doing, which is painted. And like this was the nautical connection, if you can see. So that's it. And these are the cheese boards, which again, I just sourced from Jodhpur. She sent me the wood and I just like carved them out and filled them. So this is what I put Rubio on. This stuff, even the teak, I put Rubio on the teak too. This is a table, again, those reclaimed teak boards that he sent me. And this was a collaboration with a friend who's an abstract artist. So she did all the designs and I put them. This is when I learned to illustrate, and I tried these and carved them out. Of whatever. And these are the maple tables. These ones lying here.
Oh, get out, man. Get out. These are the maple tables. They look like amazing.
The wood is amazing, man. So I just fell in love, and luckily it was easily available. So, so that is my main mixing table, where you can see the poke on the side. You can see the resin. You need your little weighing machine, which is filthy now. All the other stuff, your mixing little spoons and everything. I have a clock which has my temperature on it, which is very important for resin. All my mixing cups, which I reuse all, I don't believe in throwing. So the resin dries, you reuse it. My gloves reused. That's all the mixing stuff. And this is the table where I cast, where I do all my work. There's a big one on there right now, which is, I just did a final coat on this piece. You must have seen it on Insta. I did it a couple of weeks back. So that's it. And that is my rooftop. I have a lovely view here and I have windows all around. So it's a very peaceful little, this thing is down, but I have a lovely people tree. I'm going to show you where I get. That's all the pigments. These are my pigments. Those are the molds when I'm making coasters. That's a little storage. Again, more pigments. That's more resin lying in the corner. So that's it. That's the workshop. I love spending time here.
So one next thing I want to ask you is about what kind of woods. So first you were introduced to the New Zealand pine, which you had said. So did you on and venture into any other kind of wood? Or,
I didn't actually go for the wood. I just went for reclaimed wood. So what they have is that I think probably the poorest quality wood is used in pallets. So I don't know if it's poor quality, but it's stuff that breaks easy. It's not very hard, but for signs and all, it works fine. And there were lovely grains I found in so many of these woods. Now I can't identify. I think that most of them are the pine family, but it's just planks which I go pick up and use. And then slowly I, started going more to the wood market. And my parents live in Chandigarh. I went to Chandigarh. I said, let's go hit the wood mandi. Let's see what they have. And there was this beautiful log lying thrown outside, big log. So I asked the guy, I said, how much is this for? He said, ये तो ऐसे फेंकी हुई है. I said, आप मुझे काट के दे दो. 3 टुकड़े इसके 3 slab बना के, just give them to me. And he planed it very sweetly. He cut it, planed it, sent it home. And it was a babool ki lakkad. It was kikar. But I've never seen such a huge, thick piece. Beautiful piece of wood. And by the time I brought it to Delhi, we got it on a tempo to Delhi. There were 3-inch wide, 3-inch thick slabs. Beautiful. I've sold all of them right now. But they were just gorgeous. And I fell in love with babool. It was hard. It didn't warp. It didn't, I think because it was that thick and it was lying outside for so long, it was, I think, pretty well seasoned. And even at my mom's, those 3 planks were lying for a while, but I loved the wood. So if I can get my hands on any more of that kikar, it's hard, it carves beautifully. It doesn't splinter when you carve it. I loved it. I've done a little bit, this big panel is shisham. I got it from a vendor in Jodhpur because I really, like I told you, don't do the joining. So I just asked him to send me tables. So he sent me 3 tables and I said, let me start doing tabletops. But this has turned out like such a lovely panel to put on the wall. So a friend of mine, in fact, has asked for it as a panel. She said, I want to buy it off you, but I don't want to make a table of it. I'll just put it as a panel on the wall. I picked up some planks of maple from the mandi. They had imported, this guy I wanted live edge. So he said, live edge mein maple hai. I like the white, the light color because resin really stands out on it. So I made a couple of tables with maple, worked well, routed very well. It's a little soft, but I actually prefer the harder wood to route on. But nice, maple worked out well. You have to seal it really well before you put in the resin, because it drinks up all the resin. Otherwise, it's quite porous. But I'm still really learning about the woods, you know, how they function, how well they cure, which ones warp, which ones won't. I'm really at a nascent stage, so I can't claim to have any advanced knowledge on wood, but I'm learning and I'm enjoying the whole learning process. I go and hang with the guys in the wood mandi and ask them about the different woods and the properties, and my woodworkers, once in a while when they come in, they'll tell me. So that's it. That's
So how do you finish the pieces that so after you finish the routing
so the
part,
painted ones were with
part,
paint. Yeah. So the painted ones are with paint. But like I was doing cheese platters, charcuterie boards and all. So again, from YouTube, I heard about Rubio Monocoat. And it was very expensive. And I called up this very helpful gentleman from Rubio Monocoat. He said, ma'am, I will come home and deliver and teach you how to use it. I said, super, aa jao. When he came home, and I had no idea of the price. He came home, he said, ma'am, 14,000 for one can, but it will go a long way. I said, my God, 14,000 ki ek can. Mere paint to 200-300 ka dabba aa jata hai. So I said, okay, sell it to me. What all can I do with it? How long will it go? He says, man, you use this much. He showed me the workings, how, you just put a little bit. And the finish it gave on literally a 220 grit sanded thing. It was so soft. It was like leather, like really soft kid leather. So I said, wow, this is lovely. And he said, ma'am, aap aankhein band karke le lo. So I told my husband, I said, listen, yeah, you fund this one can for me. Let me try it. He said, go ahead, just buy it. And I tried it, and I don't think I could go to anything else. It was so lovely, and it lasts and lasts and lasts. Of course, my hardener dried up after a while. So I called him. I said, yeah, hardener has got all dry. He said, ma'am, you can buy just the hardener if you want. I said, well, it better not be that expensive. He said, nahi, anyway, he helped me. I got another above hardener, but my original can is still going strong, and I've used it and used it. So also, I'm not doing that much work, but Rubio Monocoat is what I swear by. Then I found, I have them lying here, Danish oil by Watco, Rust-Oleum. Yeah. Danish oil, and I found Butcher's Block oil by them. I tried those on a few pieces, not food grade. I mean, they are meant to be food grade, the Butcher's Block oil. And then Mishtu told me, she says, just get, what was it she told me? Tel, alsi ka tel.
Yeah, linseed oil.
Linseed oil. Yeah. So she said, just get it from your local guy. I haven't as yet got down to that because I haven't done many pieces which required oiling. But as of now, my go-to is Rubio Monocoat. I swear by it. It's easy to use, and for someone working alone, it's very easy. So that's what I use. What else?
एक क्वेश्चन था, राउटर के साथ आपके क्या एक्सपीरियंसेस है वो मुझे पूछने थे, क्योंकि that is the basic tool that you started off with, and you said that there were a lot of things.
There were, initially, see, on wood, when you're carving, you can't make a mistake. You make a mistake, that piece is gone. So if I've carved out a name, and suppose in the A, I go a little out, that's it. My A is gone, that piece is gone. So initially, just to find my, strength and balance, actually, more than anything, it's not so much strength with the router. It is just your balance and how you move the hands. It just comes. It comes. Anybody can do it. I've taught my daughter how to use it. She didn't mess up a single piece. I don't think it's rocket science. It's a very easy tool to use. Even safety-wise, you just have to be a little careful when you're initially putting it down. But I don't think you can do any great damage. If you're a woodworker, you will not do damage to yourself using a router for sure.
So if there's somebody who is out there who is wanting to start something like this, like not like so I believe that woodwork has a lot of like aspects, and the art aspect which you have ventured into. If somebody would like to get into that, what would be your guideline to them? Like what to start in the beginning, and how to start because there are a lot of people who are
it's so easy. You need two tools, literally. You need your sander and you need the router. If you want to do the kind of art I'm doing, you literally need two tools, and that's not too much of an investment. If you're keen on something, go ahead, get these two tools. The router is not hard. I've taught myself. I was not taught by anyone. I just knew I had to be careful. So if you go in with that thing, you buy your goggles, you buy face masks, everybody has now. You buy your goggles and you buy earmuffs. I literally use just your regular JBL headphones because I like to listen to music when I'm working. They're not even those muffs, the 3M muffs. I use headphones and I've got my thing on. Have your safety gear in place. I don't use anything on my hands. It's very rare that you make an error where, you know, with the router. I haven't, and believe me, I'm a beginner. So just go ahead, buy these two tools, try the router on these rough pieces of wood, go and source some wood. Or even, you know, you've got a table at home which is scuffed and looking dead. You want to, if there's some piece of old wood lying at home, please go ahead, try your hand at it. You will get the hang of the router in 2 days. It is not tough at all. I mean, I can't profess to be some Yoda of routing. Anybody can do it. It is it's a very simple tool. Be a little careful, take those little precautions. Don't be in a hurry and take your time. The bits are a thing which it took me a while to source the bits, but I finally found a very good supplier in Chowdi Bazaar again. And now I call him, he delivers them home. So I'm not sure where, maybe on Amazon you would find, I just have this guy who does it. But you try out different bits. I use a very fine bit for outlining. It's literally like a 2 mm, 1 mm bit. So I outline all these names when you write. I first do the outline and then the insides with a wider bit. Just so that it's more precise and you get the nice sharp edges. That's it. It's an easy tool. Go ahead and try your hand, and if you need help, call me, man. I'm happy to. If I can explain something, I'm happy to help anyone. I encourage anyone to use it. It's such a lovely tool.
Nice.
Okay, I have 2 routers. I started with this one. It's a MacTech MT362. It was my first router. It is what I learnt on. It's Makita's lower end line, which I think has gone out of production now because I can't seem to find it anymore. Very reliable router. I've done all my work on this, and believe me, I've made tons of pieces. Very handy, nice and heavy, easy to move. Really has never given me any problem. It has basically, you can use, let me show you, 3 sizes of bits on it. You from the 12 mm to the 6 mm. There's a 12 mm, which is the original without a collet nut, which is what the one bit that they give with it is a straight cut 12 mm, very solid bit. I've used it sparingly, really haven't done work that required it. What I use most is an 8 mm collet nut, because I find the easiest bits for me, the most commonly available are the 8 mm's. So that's an 8 mm which goes into that. Once you tighten it on, it fits in very securely, very nice. And then you have your 12, you have an 8, and you have a 6 mm. So that's the versatility of the sizes you can use in this. As for the bits, the ones I use most commonly, that's my little set of bits. This is a really tiny 1 mm bit. It's a straight bit. So what we have are straight bits. We just make a straight dip in the wood. I have some U. Sorry, that's a V. Where is my U? Here's a U. There's a U cutting bit, which will give you a bit of a curve when you route with it. There's a V if you want a little, a little deeper center and graduating upwards from the sides. That's a V bit. I basically use the straight bits. I start with a 1 mm to outline the design, and then I take out to remove the other bits, I use a wider bit, a 2 mm or I think that's a 3 mm. So those are the tiny bits. And they're pretty strong. They last. I do considerable work with them. They last. They do break sometimes in the middle, but they're strong bits overall. I don't use a trim router. I only have I have 2 plunge routers. That's my old one, MT362, and then I got myself a Makita M3600. Very solid. Same basically functions just the same as that one. I've changed the base plate for making circles. But that's it. I function on these two routers. I source these bits from a little shop in Chowdi Bazaar. It's the wholesale market in Delhi. They're made in India. It's there's one of the companies is called Universal. I think most of them are made in somewhere in Gujarat. There's Universal and there's Perfect. These are the two main brands I use. There's also another one, called Accutech. I'm not sure if that's made in India, but these are very good bits. They're easily available. Initially I used to go to Chowdi Bazaar to pick them up. Now I just call him and he sends them, he literally sends them to a metro station near my home and I pick them up. Easily available, and I've even ordered custom made bits from him. I wanted an extra long one, this one, to do some, to have a table router, mounted router, and this had to mount it under the table and I needed a longer bit. So he had these custom made for me. Very reliable again, easily available. So there's nothing to the bits, easy to source. They are not hard to find. I have one more bit. This one is I think it's a 2-inch bit, if I'm not mistaken, or at the very least 1.5 inches. It's it requires the 12 mm. It's a solid, big, heavy bit. I use it to even out large pieces. There's that jig I've got with 2 big pieces on wood on the side, and I put the piece I want to even out in the middle, and I mount my router on a jig on those 2 pieces of wood, and basically take it across, like that on the wood to just even out pieces of wood that don't go into the planing machine, larger pieces. Very handy, very good at evening. It's a nice solid bit and it lasts and lasts and lasts.
So I want to ask one last concluding question. For those who are beginning, for those who are getting into woodworking, what would you want to tell them? Something, some guidance, some word of advice.
I'm sure everybody says be careful with wood, with any medium. Be careful. Take all your safety precautions. Know what you're getting into. I mean, don't just buy a tool and start. Do some reading, YouTube is a wonderful tool. There are online these classes. Do a little bit of background before you get into, so if you want to go into it also. Don't just jump into it. Do your homework. And I really have not been taught by anyone. I have learnt on my own. There is no end to learning, and there'll be so many people who will come around to help you. Once you get into it, I've had help from so many people who've given me advice. Aise polish karo, aise edit karo apni photos. This is how you put it up. It's a massive, massive support system out there. Use that. Reach out to people who are already doing it. Take the advice you can, and believe me, if you stick to something, you will just enjoy it. It's a lovely medium. It's such an organic, fulfilling medium. I love that feel of wood, that smell of wood. In fact, if I'm out somewhere and I smell wood shavings or something, it's a different feeling. You feel like you've come home. So I just love the medium. I don't know how well I'll end up doing. I just know I have to keep making. I wake up in the morning and I know, okay, today, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make, this is what I'm making. I just plan it in the morning. This is what I'm making today, and just hit the workshop. And literally I'm there from 8:30 in the morning. Okay, not 8:30 in the morning, 9:30 in the morning, till about 8:39 at night, because it's at home. It's so convenient. I am so blessed to have access to these workshops. I have to give full thanks to my husband. Please do mention that. He keeps asking me, Mera to kuch bolti nahi ho. So I'm really blessed that I've got a very encouraging, supportive system at home, family at home, all my kids, my husband, my in-laws, so supportive. And there's nothing holding you back. If you love something, just go for it, man. There will be people who will encourage you, who will buy. If you want to turn it into a business, I'm a housewife. If I can turn it into a business, anyone can. I've never done business. I worked for a bit, but business is a whole different. You have to be a little more, like I've learned about the whole finance aspect, keep filling in your entries, banking. I knew nothing about banking before this because my husband would do everything. I just knew my paycheck was going in and it would come out. But it's a huge learning. You will set yourself up for something that will keep you engaged for life, I would say. Pick a nice hobby. I'm not saying woodwork, but woodwork for me personally is just very fulfilling.
But all the mediums, anything you do with your hands, if you're an artist, artisan, you are just going to be a happy person.
Amazing.
Mm.
Amazing. I think if you're an artisan, you're just going to be a happy person. I think
Yeah.
let's put it that way. Let's put it that
Absolutely.
way. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Ishni. Thank you so much
It's
for
been a joy
showing us
and
around.
all the best.
Yes, thank you very much. And guys, if you like the content, please hit the subscribe button, like the video, please comment, share it with your folks in woodworking. Do repost it, do repost our Instagram post, and go to Studio Ishneet Maan on Instagram. I'm going to be putting the link in the description. So please go and follow her. Please check out her website. And yes, also use the hashtag SWIN, that is Stories of Woodworkers from India. I'm going to see you on the next one. Thank you so much.